Now that you have understood the context of this course, let's start with the first module. In this module, we're going to clear up one of the biggest beginner confusions in the world of software development.
What exactly is Git? What is GitHub? And why do we need both?
All right, big question time. What exactly is Git? And what is GitHub? And why do we need both? I'm Victor, and I'm pointing at two floating icons right here. One labeled Git, the other labeled GitHub. They look similar, but trust me, they're not the same thing. Let's start with Git. Git is a piece of software. More specifically, it's called a version control system. Version control, that's a fancy phrase for help me keep track of changes. Here's the key. Git lives entirely on your computer. I install it once, and then it runs locally, inside your machine. Whenever I tell Git, watch this folder, it starts tracking the changes I make. So if I edit a file, I'm not just changing it, I'm creating a trail of what happened. And I can literally see that trail building up right on the project inside my laptop. Now let's talk about why that matters, because saving files manually is messy. Okay, imagine I'm working on something like an essay. I probably save a file called essay.docx. I feel great, it's named neatly, I close it. Then later I make improvements and I save another version. But instead of overwriting, I'm like, let me keep the old one safe. So I save essayfinal.docx. Nice, still sounds reasonable. Then I think, wait, what if the final isn't final enough? So I create essayfinalv2.docx. And at this point, I'm not even sure which one is actually correct. Then I do one more, because fear is powerful. I save essayactualfinal.dex. And suddenly my folder looks like a museum exhibit called Reasons I Made Too Many Copies. I mean, we've all done it. I shrug, I smile, and I whisper to myself, I'll totally figure it out later. Spoiler, I won't. So that's manual version control. It's basically me acting as a computer, but with stress. Git does the same job, but properly. I point to my laptop and show the messy copies, and then, bam, those versions become one organized project. It's still the same work, but Git turns it into a clean history. Instead of making lots of duplicate files, Git keeps a complete history of my project. I can now see my project as a timeline. Every time I make meaningful progress, I create a checkpoint, and each checkpoint is called commit. So let me slow down. What is a commit? A commit is basically a saved snapshot of my project at a particular point in time. Think of it like taking a picture of my project when it's at an important stage. Right now, I select a glowing checkpoint, and it literally grows and says commit. That's my snapshot. Watch me edit the project. I update something small, then I make a meaningful change. Git records that new saved state, another glowing checkpoint appears. This isn't just I changed a file, it's I captured what the project looked like then. Now let's make it super relatable with a house analogy. Imagine I'm building a house. First, I finish the foundation. I take a snapshot. That snapshot becomes commit 1. Then I finish the walls. I take another snapshot, commit 2. Then I finish the roof. I take another snapshot, commit 3. Each snapshot represents an important point in the progress of the project. And that's essentially what a Git commit does. So when I hear Git timeline, I don't panic. I imagine a line of house milestones. Here's how I remember it. Git saves a snapshot of my project at a specific moment. My project is my timeline. Every meaningful step forward becomes another commit. Commit 1, commit 2, commit 3, commit 4. And if I keep working, that timeline grows longer. Now the best part, if I ever need to go back, I don't have to guess. I select an earlier checkpoint, and my project returns to how it looked then. That's history with a superpower. Okay, next concept. We've covered commits, but we started with a bigger question. Git versus GitHub. Now let's talk about GitHub. GitHub is different from Git. I'm standing between two visuals, Git on the left, GitHub Cloud on the right. They're related, but they play different roles. GitHub is a website and cloud hosting platform. It stores a copy of the Git history that was created on your computer. So I'm editing locally with Git, and then I upload the project history to GitHub. It's like moving my house blueprint, timeline included, into a safe online home. Here's the engine way to remember it. Git is the engine. It runs locally and records snapshots. GitHub is one possible home for what that engine produces. It's where you can store, share, and collaborate on your project online. And that means you can use Git without GitHub. I'm on my laptop and Git is running locally. No cloud appears. I keep making commits and the whole timeline lives on my machine. For example, a developer could use Git throughout their entire career and keep their entire project history on their own computer. Everything still works. But here's the problem: computers fail. So when you want to back up your code somewhere other than your laptop, I upload it to GitHub. Now there's an online copy, and that makes sharing easier. Instead of emailing files named Final v7, I have a repository online. Let me show you what that looks like. Another person can view my GitHub project from another computer. I'm proud because my work is reachable. And once it's reachable, collaboration becomes possible. I can work together with other developers using the shared repository history. So let me bring in a collaborator. Hey Victor, I'm developer 2. I'm opening the repository and I can see the commit timeline, like your project's progress photos. Where should we jump in? Great question. I point to the timeline. Let's start from the latest commit where the basics are stable. Then we add improvements without breaking everything. Oh, so Git helps us track changes and GitHub helps us sync and share them. That makes it feel way less risky. Exactly, I nod toward GitHub. Git is about the local snapshots. GitHub is about the shared online home. Cool. So when I make my change, I create a new commit locally. Then I push it so it appears in the shared history online. Yes. And then we can both review what changed, especially meaningful checkpoints. No more guessing which random final file is the right one. And it doesn't stop at collaboration within a team. You can also contribute to open source projects. Let me call in another developer.
Hi, I'm developer 3. I'm browsing an open source repository. I look at commits and read through the history to understand what decisions were made. That helps me contribute thoughtfully.
Nice. That's a big deal. Open source contributions are less random edits and more I'm adding to an organized story. So when developer 3 contributes, it becomes part of the project's timeline too, which means the community can trace the change and understand the context.
Exactly, and if something needs improvement later, we can go back to earlier commits and build forward carefully.
That's where GitHub becomes extremely useful. I stand center with the GitHub cloud behind me, and I gesture to 4 benefits. Backup, sharing, collaboration, open source. Backup because your history isn't trapped on one laptop. Sharing because others can easily find and access your work. Collaboration because multiple people can contribute without losing track. Open source because the whole point is community improvements with visible history. So the relationship is clear now. Git helps me manage changes and snapshots. GitHub helps me store and coordinate those snapshots online.
And neither one replaces the other. Git is the engine, GitHub is the home.
Perfect summary. Let me lock it in one last time. Git equals version control running locally. Commits are snapshots. Timeline is history. GitHub equals online hosting for that Git history, enabling backup, sharing, collaboration, and open source. All right, confidence check. If I ask you, what's Git? You say version control system. If I ask you what's GitHub, you say website cloud that hosts Git repositories. And if you wonder why we need both, you say Git builds the snapshots and history locally. GitHub gives you a safe, shared online place for that history. We'll create our very first commit together in the next module. See you there. Time to make commit 1.